Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing another Walking Dead character spotlight video. I have been inspired by the deleted scene that was recently released on the Walking Dead Season 3 Blu-ray and DVD set to go ahead and do a character spotlight on one of the characters I think is probably at this stage the most interesting character in The Walking Dead, maybe aside from Rick. And that is, of course, none other than Morgan Jones. Okay, so in addition to the video the other day where I did the review of the deleted scene, I wanted to go ahead and do an actual just character spotlight on the character of Morgan, since I've never done one before and I have done a lot of character spotlights on most of the characters in The Walking Dead, and I've always not had a chance to go ahead and cover Morgan. But I think he is one of the most interesting characters in the show. I really do. His time in the Walking Dead television series, and we'll talk about his comic book version as well too pretty soon. His time in the Walking Dead television series, I think, has been short and sweet. When you consider that he's only been in 2 episodes, it's pretty crazy to think that we have such a good understanding of him, and we've touched on so many things about him that a lot of other characters in the show we haven't seen that level of development from. Obviously, Rick being the our main lead character, he has changed and evolved a lot with the things that have occurred to him. Shane was another one who had changed tremendously as a result of the zombie apocalypse, and of course season 2 was a great season for him. But Morgan is one that's kind of been like a carrot that's been dangled here and there for us viewers, where we want more of it, but they'll just give us a little bit and then they'll take it away. And then we'll have to wait to see what's going to happen next with the character and where we're going to come across him. As far as I know, he is confirmed for a Season 4 return by Scott Gimple. It was at least pressed online, released by news sources online, that is the case. So we'll see if that does in fact happen at some point in Season 4. I sure hope it does, because I can't wait to see more of Lenny James' portrayal of Morgan, since he's such an interesting character. The comic book version of Morgan, to be honest with you, really is not all that interesting, I don't think. He's basically a crazy guy. After a lot of it is similar to what happens in The Walking Dead television. To some degree it is. I mean, some of the events are the same. The first episode, for example, when Rick meets him, he provides exposition for us, the reader, in the comic book series and TV series too, viewer, and then he basically is gone until Rick comes across him later on in the comic book series, and he rejoins the group. Rejoining the group, he goes with Rick, but unfortunately, it really doesn't work out. Those of you guys who have read the comic book series understand and know what I mean and what happens. Now, the way he was handled there, I felt like, it was kind of lackluster what happened with him. I felt like it could have been handled a lot better. That he's such an interesting character because he was alone for so long that you got to think of the things that would do to a person. I mean, think about how dependent we are on socialization for our survival. Well, yeah, for our survival, but also just for our mental health. We are social animals. We have to socialize. What do we do to somebody who can't get along with the rest of society? We lock them up in jail, away from everyone else. Aside from the worst ones get solitary confinement, where they basically hardly see anybody. They may hear people in other cells near them, or whatever the case may be, but they're basically locked up to be, completely by themselves, away from everyone, because they're a danger. But it's basically the worst thing you can do to a human being, is to take them and just force them to not be around anybody. It's so bad for their mental state, and it causes damage to the person. Morgan in a zombie apocalypse is a great example of somebody that is on his own and has to fend for himself and has to take care of everything. Eventually, in the television series, becomes basically OCD with his territory, with King County, what he considers to be his zone, so to speak, and has booby-trapped the entire place to best deal with walkers and oncoming other people, other visitors, other survivors that may come and want to take his arsenal of weapons, and he does have that, food, things of that nature, which he has to, of course, defend. So from the time when we leave him, very touching scene, of course, with his wife and what he's going to do with that, his son, and then we encounter him again in Clear, and we sort of discover that he's lost everything. You know, what is a man like at that stage when they have completely lost everything they have to live for, but they're still alive? And, you know, the human brain, the mind, we're survivors. We're at our very basic level, those animalistic instincts that we have in us, probably the most important is for survival. The most important is to protect ourselves, to survive. So even though you may have considered suicide at certain parts, you know, at certain times, being alone like that all the time, you know, it goes against our nature to commit suicide. You know, the people that do that, I mean, that's another discussion on their own, but he basically, to make a long story short, has decided not to go that route, in that he does have a purpose and he does have a mission, and that is to clear. Which is awesome. Now, it will be interesting to see in Season 4 and onward how we're going to encounter Morgan again. Will Rick seek out Morgan for his skills and help and assistance and maybe his weapons and what he has? Or will Morgan be the one to come and find Rick in the future, maybe possibly out of loneliness, possibly out of boredom, when you get fewer and fewer survivors and they're not coming through very much anymore. The walkers in his area have mostly been completely cleaned out, even though there will be some more that will go on through. I'm sure he won't have much trouble with all his setup and system and everything he's got going to handle them. I mean, to me, it doesn't sound like he's even challenged by walkers or zombies at this point, regardless of how many there are. He's got it all set up and figured, so he knows exactly how to handle every situation and every amount, even if it is just to hide and let them, you know, kind of pass through. So, what an interesting character. I think that deleted scene is absolutely required viewing for anybody who likes The Walking Dead. And for me, he has morphed from a character that's just, yeah, he was cool in Season 1, but that development and the dialogue and the writing in Clear was so good, I'd have to say he's probably my third favorite character in the Walking Dead series, television series. Of course, first being Shane, and then you got to go Rick. Well, Daryl's in there too, so maybe Daryl, so maybe third or fourth, and then you'd have Morgan. I'd have to think of which character I like better, Daryl or Morgan. You know, it's kind of hard to say. But regardless, I think that his psychology, his philosophy, may be the most interesting aside from Rick's of anyone in the series, Rick and Shane. You know, the whole having lost it all, what's left? He can't commit suicide. He won't do that. It goes against our nature. And, you know, he becomes this this creature of just like robotic cleansing, of just clearing out over time, to be conditioned to that's all he wants to do and to feel like that's his purpose, because he's had that behavior. And your attitude, you'll learn in psychology, if you study psychology, your attitude will follow your behavior. A lot of people think of it the other way around, but if you study enough and you think about it enough, you'll realize that whatever behaviors you do, your attitude will follow those behaviors, or will change as a result of those behaviors. And his certainly has. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with him and how crazy he is. He's crazy to us, the viewer, in the normal world, but actually in a zombie apocalypse, he is probably the new norm. He is the best type of survivor, seeing himself as weak, seeing himself as, you know, a survivor and a constant and someone that will be there, I think is an interesting way, very interesting way to see yourself, an idea of who you are, your identity, and what you're there for, and what your purpose is, purpose in life. Very, very interesting. Let me know what you guys think about Morgan Jones as a character in The Walking Dead. Is he one of your favorites? Do maybe some of you not like him? He is, for me, an absolute favorite, and I can't wait to see what they do with him in the future. I think he's going to survive a long time. Even if he's not always in front of the camera and he's, you know, off there somewhere in The Walking Dead in the background, you know, on his own or whatever the case may be, he's got to be one of the best survivors there is, absolutely. Anyway, that's pretty much all I got to say about Morgan, one of my favorite characters there is. I'll call it here. That's it for this video, guys. I'll see you for the next one. This is Trev, and I'm saying peace.